If you've been trying to find great covered calls candidates or tickers, but you're not sure where to start and which ones are actually tradable or great for trading covered calls, I want to share with you a little bit of insight on this topic. If you don't know me, I'm Sasha, the options coach. I've been trading options for probably over 15, 16 years here now, and I've been coaching people one-on-one and in group settings for probably the last decade. Now, when we look at trading covered calls, you have to realize what is it that you're doing in the business of covered calls. Well, really what we're doing is we're buying shares of stock and then we're selling calls against it, kind of like rental income. So you make money from two different spots. One is appreciation, and then the third is kind of rental income. That's where selling the call comes in. On top of that, if you get a dividend paying stock, you get kind of a dividend bump or boost. So this is how it works. So what we want to do is go in and scan for stocks that have certain liquidity or easy way to buy the house and sell the house. Because if you go in and you own and operate a business, and let's say we look at purchasing a certain house right here. Well, that might be fine, but let's say this house is 80 miles away from any big city. Okay, we might have actually some appreciation where it appreciates in value. Okay, the other thing is maybe we can find a tenant, like we have somebody that's willing to rent it out. Okay, so this would be kind of us buying the stock and then selling it at some point in the future, and also selling the calls against it. So all of the things line up. The problem is it's 80 miles away. So when it's 80 miles away, not everybody's going to want to buy the house later when I'm looking to sell it. And when I lose my tenant, all of a sudden selling these calls, that's going to be a little bit of a problem. So in this case, just like in stocks, in the world of trading, we want to make sure we have something that's liquid, something that's flexible, other people will want, and that it's easy to rent out and easy to get in and out of. So when we go in and do a scan for these things, and we'll go to the ThinkorSwim panel, you can go up to the scan and then you go to the stock hacker. We're going to scan in weeklies. That'll be in public, and then you go to W for weeklies. The reason we do that is because that way we have weekly traded options. Because if you don't do that, and let's say we go into, well, let's scan for the Russell 3000. And then I scan for stocks, and we'll go, let's just scan for $2 stocks. And then we will scan for these vehicles. So all of a sudden, I've got a lot of vehicles here, but here's the one, for example, AVD. Let's take a peek. AVD, you might look at it, and yeah, it's a stock, it's a vehicle, but the problem is, well, what do I got? I've only got options on the 18-day, 45, 74, and 165. Unlike compared to, let's look at AMD for a second, you can see you have these things called weeklies, which trade every single week. Gives you a little flexibility. Okay, so you can compare the difference between this. So this would be a property where, yes, it might be cheap to get in. The problem is dealing with this position is really annoying, because you're not going to find a tenant that might want 45 bedrooms, or they might want 30 bathrooms and only one bedroom, right? It's a really weird purchase. So that's the same thing here, is that people get into this thing thinking that it's a good buy, but they don't understand the industry. In that case, also, we've got no volume, or right now the market's not really open. So the liquidity is very thin, but that also means that, hey, if you're not trading weeklies, it also means the liquidity is thin. So what we're going to do is when we do this scan, that's why we want to scan inside of this weeklies right here. And that gets you a starting point. And then these positions and stocks actually have a list of weeklies. Now, I go in much more depth on this on my finding profitable covered calls webinar here and workshop that we did. It's about 2 months ago that we did it, but you could check it out on our website if you like, or just send me a note and message, and I'll get you more insight about that if you're interested. But anyway, the point being here is that when we look for these things, now we've got some criteria. We've got a last and so forth. Another part that you might want to look into is something that's maybe over 20 bucks. Because if I start with something that's, let's say, $5 and we do a scan, well, if our last price is about $5, I've got HL, okay? HL right here. Yes, it trades weeklies, but it's a $5 vehicle. With a $5 vehicle, you can see the option premium is going to make 8 cents. Not to say that that's bad, but the premium, sometimes you have to work really hard just to make $10 for the risk that you're putting up. especially on a stock like this that might whip around and so forth. So really, you're better off maybe to do kind of more holding the position rather than trying to deal with the options, because it's very minimal. So that's why if we go back to the scan and we do last price maybe of about $20, you actually get some form of some not liquidity, but premium when it comes to trading the options behind them. So if we now look at some of these cheaper ones, like let's look at CCL, and we pull up CCL. Well, now this 25-day out of the money options, yeah, you could maybe make $100 or $90, and it's a $23 stock, which might mean if you're buying 100 shares, it's $2,300. But the thing is you're actually starting to bring in some money and income that's actually maybe worth something, or in absolute terms, it actually might be useful to you in the game. The other thing you might want to look at is if you're interested in it. Not everybody is, but if we go in and add kind of this condition group over here, actually add a filter, and we'll do a fundamental. What we can do is also look for kind of a dividend payout or dividend payout per share, or a yield. Either one will kind of work as long as you're filtering out something where you're getting anything for the dividend. But what this will do is kind of go in and give you some dividend paying stocks. I have kind of a dividend column over here set up that you can kind of sort by, and this gives you a little insight on these. So then what it'll do is bring in stuff like, let's say, a Home Depot or a McDonald's. So when we go into this area and we type in Home Depot, what you'll do is you can open up this little arrow, and you can see the yield 2.32, which means you get 2.32% on your money per year. You get paid out $2.30 per quarter on each share that you have. So that's another way to look at it. And you actually get a dividend. Unlike some other stocks, you don't really get a dividend. This is kind of like a boost. In a way, think of it like if you've got a house. Okay, let's say we've got this house and property. Not only do we make money from the rent that we have, okay, so every single month, we also make money from the appreciation that we have. So that's when you sell that house. But the third income source is maybe you've got oranges on your property that you collect, and you sell oranges on that. So that also gives you kind of like a little bonus or boost in income. So that's kind of what a dividend is that you're making money kind of just simply holding onto the property. You're getting another form of income. And this is the paying back from the company, or the dividend boost from the earnings. So anyways, this is a few starting points for what you're looking for. There's some other criteria obviously in here, like watching the bid-ask spread and those kinds of things, looking at the option premium, looking at the different strikes, like what kind of strikes do you want to see in these different areas. I've covered a lot of this more in this class, but if you're interested in that, just let me know, send me a note. I'll be happy to go ahead and share you some more insight about that. I've also got some other great training videos that are very specific to scanning and finding things. If you're struggling, if you're looking for even vertical spreads, iron condors, how to do those things, just send me a note. Let me know where you're at personally, and I'll see if I can help you and pinpoint some of the videos that we have available. So thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of the week ahead, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.